So in this session, we will be like discussing what is data mining and how it is like evolved over the period of years, and what are the applications of data mining, and what are the career opportunities available after mastering data mining for you guys. Okay. So right now in our screen, we can see some numbers. So we have first, second, third, fourth, 1,000, 5,000, 10,000, and 2,000. So when we just like look into this, what do we understand? We just think, okay, it's like, some rank or some numbers. It doesn't like, make any real sense, right? But when we like, see this data with some other information, like the first column is quarter, the second column is ice cream sale. So now we are able to identify we have an ice cream shop. The sale of the ice creams for the first quarter is like, for the sum of $1,000 in the first quarter. Okay, we were able to identify some some information from this, right? But when you analyze this data, we can say the sale for the first and fourth quarter is comparatively low here, because the ice cream shop is only able to sell for $1,000 in the first quarter and $2,000 in the fourth quarter. But the sales were kind of very high in the third quarter with $10,000, right? And for the second quarter is kind of medium with $5,000. So we were able to analyze something from the data that we have, right? So we can just say, any company, you can just look into the database, they'll be able to give you these numbers. So we can call that as data. But when you're able to like, identify some patterns and, project it in a way that people can understand in a visualized form better, so you can call that as a information. Okay, so here I'm just giving you a very small example for you to understand this concept. Okay, but when you just look into the, a real company's, sales information, it's going to be very complex with, with numerous product information, and then, daily sales data, and, weekly sales, and it's going to be like, a lot of information, right? So, okay, so here with this example, we're able to identify we have data. I mean, the numbers we just had out of facts, right? So, what are the sales happened for an ice cream shop for each quarter? So, that is our data. So, when you like, process that data, we are able to get some information. Okay, so when you like, ponder on this information, you will be able to like get some knowledge. So maybe we can say the sales for the ice cream shop is kind of less in the quarter 1 and 4 because, you know it might be a winter season. Okay, usually during winter the sales of ice cream doesn't go well, right? So maybe we can able to like associate that here, and then we got this information, and then we were able to like we can able to take some decisions like, okay, during the winter I might be like able to sell some, additional products like, coffee or um, you know cappuccino, something like that. Okay, so that is a decision the business is going to take. So how business or the managers take decisions? So they have their raw information, the data in their database, so they process this data and then get information, and then from that they gain knowledge, and from the knowledge they are able to make some decisions. Okay, so this is how the data flow happens in any organization. What is data and information? We just discussed about it, but to like, give you it in the right way. So we can say the data are nothing but the raw facts which represents the events occurring in any of the business. Okay, so when you just like collate all this data in an organized form, in a tabular form, you can call that as a data. But when you say information, when you like process that information and then and then give them some meaningful insights or through a graph or a chart or with some descriptions, you can say that as an information. Okay, so this is a small example of data and information here. Here, when you have a sales information of a retail shop. Okay, so I have 331 here, which is a product ID, and Bright Dish Soap is a product. $1.29 is a cost of the product. So we have like around 8 products listed here, and then here in the so this is how the data looks like when you say the information. So we can say the store, I mean we're talking about the superstore, and the number of the store is 122, which means like they have like multiple stores throughout the country or a particular region. And then the sales region, I mean this store belongs to the sales region of Northwest. Okay, and then the item number is 331 and the product is Bright Dish Soap. And there were like 7,156 you know separate soaps were sold in this particular store in Northwest region. Okay, so and since it is like the price of the soap is like $1.29, so we can say the total sales was done for $9,231.24. Okay, so this is kind of a thing that we see is an information. When you process it, when you just do some manipulation on the data, you can call that as you know information. Okay, now we're able to like clearly identify what is the data and what is an information. Okay, then what is this data mining? So this is kind of a popular name and widely used, and I'm sure you would have like heard about it earlier. So, but this is like a recent terminology. It was not there earlier, but the process was like the process what happens in data mining is kind of done earlier, but this term was coined only around 1990s. And when you say like data mining, you just think okay, you're just going to extract the data. So when you just say mine, you're just going to extract something. So when you say data mining, you're going to extract from the data, right? But it's not that we are just extracting. We are actually processing it and finding some meaningful patterns from the mined data. Okay, so this terminology is not the right term that we should use, but it's kind of coined, and then we have been like using it for while, and then so that's why it is called as a misnomer. So it's like it's actually a wrong or inaccurate name for this for the process that happens in data mining. So sometimes people call this as KDD, which is actually an abbreviation for knowledge discovery in databases. Okay, please remember it's KDD, knowledge discovery in databases. Okay, so I've been like talking about the process, right? So actually, as you know, the data mining is a process of finding patterns or correlations or finding some information within the large data sets. Okay, so that you will able to like predict your results, what's going to happen in the future, or you can able to predict okay, how can I cluster my data, okay, how can I classify my data. So you're able to do all these things from your large data set. We can call that as process as data mining. Okay, so why these companies are like using data mining? Because like I mean, for imagine a manufacturing company, they manufacture products and then sell it. Why do they have to go for data mining? What is it the real need, right? So everybody in the whole world who's running business, they're not doing any charity. Though they do, because even to do that, they have to like get more profits. So always the companies look to maximize their profits and minimize their cost. And then always like customer is a real boss for any company, right? So any company wants to like improve their customer relationship, and they want to like have a good bring good loyalty among the customers. And then we also want to like reduce financial risk. So this is the four major things that any company would like to do better to survive. So all these four things can be like done by the proper use of data mining techniques. So that's why the companies are like giving more importance to preserving their data and then mining good information from it. Why we have to go for this data mining and how this has happened? What is the need for data mining? So imagine 50, 60 years back, yes, the process of data mining was there, but it was not able to be like commercialized because there was no enough computers to do the process. Maybe you can still even remember, or like you can just like go online and search for the first ever computer which is built. It's actually the size of a building, right? And even for that computer, like computing an additional problem is kind of going to take some time. But nowadays, just imagine, we just our phones can process a lot of information, right? So the rapid computerization you know took place right now. So actually there's a lot of advancement in the technology. Okay, so in the olden days, the computers were like very had less memory, and the RAM was very less. But now we have phones which has like good RAMs, maybe 8 GB RAM, something like that, right? So we have good development in the hardware as well as in software, and even the businesses kind of adopted to it. So right now we have corporations with higher revenue sometimes than a lot of countries. So the businesses are like doing great, and they have computerized, and then they can able to like store some data, and we have a lot of data in the companies. It's not only about the companies. Recently, maybe in after 2010, social media boom came up. So everybody started generating data. So everybody started consuming data and generating data, right? So the actually we can say that we live in a data era or information era. So there's a lot of data available. So you know people started thinking how we can make use of this data better, so that we will be able to like get some advantage over it. Even if it is a business, they think okay how they'll think okay how I'm going to process my data and then gain some competitive advantage. Even if it is an individual person, we do that, right? We would tend to know, okay, imagine a person who's always addicted using his smartphone. What does he do? So he might be able to like track how much time that he spent on his phone in each of the applications, right? So that is like kind of possible. And then he finds out that he's like spending a lot of time on social media like Facebook and Instagram. He can like set an alert, and sometimes he can like say if I'm going to use Facebook or so Instagram for like for more than 20 minutes a day, you can like automatically logged off. So all this, I mean, so you can use this for your advantage, even if it is your a business, a common person, or for a researcher. Anything is possible. All this is made possible because of the rapid computerization which happened, and the advancement of technology. Okay, so we really need this kind of data mining process in our lives right now and also in the future. There is some good old process which is being like followed for data mining. Okay, so this is like defined by the cross industry standard process. So first you have to like understand your business. you know if you want to like mine your data, if you want to get into this process, first you have to understand your business, and then and after you have to understand your data, how your data looks like, what are the factors that you have, and what are the relevant factors that you should be using. And then you should be like preparing your data. When you say like preparing your data, sometimes your data may not be in a form that you can like structured, and then you can use it in to in data modeling. So you prepare your data, and then if there is any missing values, you have to like do some imputation or remove it. And then you have to like do some manipulations. For example, I mean, you can convert your date of birth into an age. So that is also a part of data preparation. So I'm just giving an example here, that's all. So and then you do your data modeling, where you apply machine learning algorithms, and then you create a model, and then you try to predict maybe your sales, or like what's how much products is like gonna be like uh, be wasted in our next cycle in the production department, something like that. You can predict all that, and then you evaluate your model. Okay, so and then you can then deploy it. But sometimes this whole process is like never goes in a single cycle, as we show here. It's like sometimes when you're working on modeling, sometimes you find out, okay, this data cannot be used, so you just go again and prepare your data. And then when you're like working on your data, you find out, okay, you don't understand few factors, and then you go and find out what is it, so you have to go back to your business. So it's like it's not always pointed in a single direction. You always have to go back when needed, and then you have to work on this. Okay, so this is actually a process which is like defined for data mining. And there are like four levels of analytics which happens in the industry, and this is like proposed by Gartner. Okay, so we have descriptive analytics, diagnostic analytics, predictive analytics, and prescriptive analytics. We have discussed this four levels of analytics in our earlier sessions, so I believe that you still remember that. But I just give you an overview of what happens in here. So, a descriptive analysis concentrates on what's happening in the what happened in the past. So when you're able to like do some postmortem on your data, you can call that process as descriptive analytics. And when you're trying to find out why that actually happened, why I sold 10 products yesterday and why I'm selling 50 products today. So if you're trying to understand what's happening in your business, you can go for why it is happening in your business. You can go for diagnostic analytics. And then if you want to predict how much I'll be selling in the next quarter or next year, okay, so that for that you have to go for predictive analytics. Okay, and then for prescriptive analytics is actually when you're like trying to like make something to be happen. For example, through predictive analytics, you just found out you will be like selling only 500 products in the next month, whereas like you are expecting to sell 2,000 products. So here you might be end up in loss. Then you find out, you're trying to figure out why it's like happening. Why I'm just going to sell 500 products, and then you figure out what are the causes of what might be the causes for your future loss. And then when you're trying to like solve that through predictive analytics. So mostly like you'll be like using min max algorithms, minimax, I mean the game theory problems, and linear programming and transportation assignment problems in prescriptive analytics. Okay, in predictive analytics you'll be like using few machine learning techniques. Okay, let's see what are the applications of data mining. So there's a lot of applications available. We'll be just like looking into very few of this to for you to understand what are the applications available. It is like widely used in many industries, in especially in banking. It is like used uh, to decide whether the bank should like provide a loan to the customer or not. And also it helps a bank to identify whether they can like avail credit card facilities for to a particular customer or not. So usually banks always like try to get to evaluate a business or a person through a credit score. So for every individual has a credit score, and every businesses has a credit rating. So to apply for a loan, they have to like rate themselves on this, and based on that only, so the banks will be able to provide you loans. So all this credit rating process, like it's happening through the lot of financial agencies like CRISIL, which is like run by S&P, and a lot of Indian companies also does that. So this process actually happens through machine learning techniques. Okay, this is one of the major applications which is like used in the banks. Next one is companies use data mining to like manage their relationship with the customers. They can able to predict who's going to leave them. Okay, this is really possible, like by understanding the behavior of the customer, and then apply machine learning techniques, and then find out, okay, this person is going to leave the company, so how are we going to retain them? So maybe in that case you can just give them some good deals and offers, discounts, to retain them. So this has been kind of done by a lot of mobile service providers majorly, especially like Airtel and your Geo. So there's a lot of competition happening between these mobile service providers right now. So they always try to find out who's actually the customer who's kind of least using services right now, and then they give you like benefits and offers according to your need. Okay, so this is all possible through data mining. And next one is targeted marketing. So imagine like you want to like market a new product to your existing customers. You just like introduce a new product, and then you want to like do marketing. Actually, marketing is actually a very costly business. It's not like you can just like create an email and send it to everybody. For that also you have to pay. So for imagine, for sending one email to a customer cost 1 rupee, and then I have a product which which I'm gonna like market for 10,000 people. So I have to spend 10,000 rupees. Out of this 10,000, only like very few might be my actual customers. Very few might be interested in the product. So to find out that, so we try to identify which are the customers might be interested in my product. So accordingly, I do target. So one of the very good example uh, for this is like Book My Show. So everybody might have heard of this Book My Show, where which actually an application through which we like book movie tickets, and other tickets for an events, right? So here, imagine you're a person who always books for a movie uh, in the weekend, and you cannot be doing it for a period of time. And when there is a new movie getting released on the weekend, obviously they will be like sending you about this information. Whereas that we have another person who just like watches movie once in a while, maybe on a weekend, but only when there is a long weekend. So when a new movie is like releasing on a Friday, which is not a long weekend, so the Book My Show will be targeting only the person who's a regular goer, right? So we can't just be like sending information to the person who just like logged in Book My Show once and booked ticket once, right? So here I'm just gonna like send information only to 1,000 people instead of sending 10,000 people. So here I'm saving 9,000 rupees, right? So actually, by marketing with the targeted customers, we'll be like minimizing our cost. Okay, and this is being like done in a lot of companies. It's not only about Book My Show. Okay, next one is in financial transactions. Lot of lot of times there might be um, fraud deduction techniques are used. So we may not know this because like when we do financial transactions, it just happens in a very few seconds. So but at each of the time we do a financial transaction, the fraud reduction algorithm checks whether it's a right activity or not. Okay, so every time when we use do an online transaction, it's been done. For example, imagine I'm a person who like always uses spends only 10,000 rupees per week. Okay, so all of a sudden I just swipe a card for 1 lakh rupees. So I have never when that information goes to the bank server, so it checks. Okay, Ramya never has done this. When why she's doing? So in that case, maybe they might send an OTP to my email or a phone, or sometimes I may get a call saying, "Are you the real person who's doing this transaction?" So they just check, and then if it is authorized, they just complete the transaction. Otherwise, the transaction is aborted, and then let's get added in their database. Okay, so this is actually a streaming analytics application, which is being currently live for the banks for almost more than a decade. So this is kind of being done through data mining. Next, in manufacturing and production, also data mining is used. People think, okay, how is it possible? They just have machines, they manufacture some nuts and bolts. How is it possible? So in very big companies, when they have like hundreds of machines, when they manufacture 100 different products, you can't just like have a manual quality checks. So here the quality check is like automated through data analytics processes, and then sometimes even for maintaining these machines, through IoT, you know all your the data about the machine is kind of tracked every single second, and then they just use that information for predictive maintenance. When I say predictive maintenance, it's all the machines has to be serviced now and then. It happens for automotives, it happens for all the machines, right? No one can work 24 bar 7. Yes, the machines can, but still it has to be like serviced now and then. So always you say, okay, this machine has to be serviced once a month. So few machines have that, need that, but few machines need servicing only for 6 months. So when you do servicing, you just clean the whole thing, and renew few nuts and bolts, and then you change your oils, but this kind of cost the company. So instead of that, if you're going to install IoT sensors within the machine, it just tells you which part of the machine is not working properly, and that part only will be like serviced. Will be the oil might be changed in that part, or just a few nuts and bolts will be changed according to the need of the machine. So here you don't have to give an monthly maintenance as it is being done earlier. So because of this, a lot of manufacturing companies are right now going for predictive maintenance with IoT sensors. So with that, they were able to save millions of money, because they were able to manage the machineries without mm, wastage in service time. Next was in the e-commerce. Okay, so here e-commerce actually kind of booming for the past decade, and thanks to COVID, it is one of the most promising businesses right now. So when it's actually not data mining is not only used in e-commerce, in actual store design for a retail market as well. So there's this some study which shows that over a weekend, so whenever a person buys a bread, 43 there is a chance so whenever a person buys some milk, there's always a 71% chance that person buys some bread, 43% chance that he's going to buy a egg, and then 29% chance is going to buy a toilet paper. So this is based on a study which has been done in the retail markets in US. And so sometimes there's a recent studies also being done. It says like whenever a person buys a diaper in the weekend, he has a chance of buying a beer in the supermarket. So this has been um, analyzed based on the people's purchase patterns. So for that, with this data, they were able to redesign the store, even if it is a physical retail store and online store. So if a person is gonna add milk to the cart, so if you're gonna place the bread and eggs nearby, so it will be easy for them to pick, even if they don't need it, they don't have the bread on their items list, the purchase list, they might get it because they're going to use it, right? So that's how they arrange their layouts so that the purchaser will be looking into it, and this process is actually called as market basket analysis. Okay, so we can just able to study this based on the demographics of the purchaser. For example, when a woman buy the milk, she always go to buy the toilet paper and eggs and breads most of the times. When you when you have a man doing that, so when he buys a diaper, might be he might be buying a bear, but beer, women in India, chance of women buying a beer is kind of comparatively less, right? So when we have the purchase pattern of teenagers will be completely different from purchase pattern of a 25-year-old, 30-year-olds, and that purchase pattern is completely going to be different for a 50-year-old. So based on the age and the location and based on their gender, what are they going to purchase, and it's going to be completely different, and market basket analysis is going to be completely different. So based on that, if it is going to be a online store, you can just design your website accordingly. So most of the times we get when you just shopping in Amazon and Flipkart, you get to see most of the people who have bought this bag also bought the shoes. You get to this this kind of recommendations. So all this is recommendation engine has been set based on this market basket analysis through data mining techniques. So in HR, this data mining is applied to find out which employees are going to leave the company. So based on the behavioral analysis, this has been made possible. In medicine, especially, yes, one of the major application of data mining in medicine and pharmacology, where data mining is used to identify new drugs, new vaccines, and to find out whether whether this person will have a chance of getting this disease in the future or not. Accordingly, they'll be able to give treatments effectively. And gene sequencing, most of the time most of the people started doing gene sequencing right now to find out what are the diseases that he or she might get in the future, and what are the diseases the kid's going to get in the future. All this is kind of able to be predicted based on their history, gene history. Okay, all this is made possible based on the data mining techniques. In astronomy, data mining is used to identify new galaxies and new planets which has the chances of life. Yes, it is being analyzed through data mining techniques, especially through image processing techniques, deep learning. We have been discussing about applications of data mining in different areas so far. So I think you will be able to understand everything what we have discussed. So now we will be discussing about what are the career opportunities that is possible in the area of business analytics and data mining. There's a lot of career opportunities available, like data analyst, data engineer, data scientist. But most of the times these terminologies, these designations are kind of used interchangeably, but it's completely different. Okay, so when you say data analyst, you're just gonna use your some statistic modeling techniques to work on your data, do some descriptive analysis. Whereas when you say data engineer, he or she works on the ETL side. So where he'll be able to create the data, and then I mean not create data, create data pipelines. Okay. Whereas data scientists, with the help of data engineer and analyst, they'll be able to apply techniques like machine learning to identify what's going to happen in the future and how we can make things that we want to be happy. And we have business analysts. So these are the people who are like, very much responsible for bridging the IT and the business managers, so that they will be able to like they both of the teams will have very good understanding of what's happening in the project. Okay, so they transfer the requirements from the business to the IT and make them understand and work on it. Okay, and then analytics manager, they are like responsible for managing all this analytics task force. So they'll be able to like work on everything like collecting data, analyzing information, conducting research, and then managing all this data team, and then report to the business team. And there are other career opportunities available, like financial analyst. So this is like kind of a domain specific career opportunities. When you're like apply data mining techniques in the finance domain only, you can call that as financial analyst. When you're like applying target marketing techniques in your job, you'll be like called marketing analyst or marketing analytics manager. And then if you're like working in the credit card division to figure out the frauds, you can be called as fraud analyst. And then if you're like working on an e-commerce or a retail sales outlet, you're trying to find out what's happening in your sales, you can call that your sales analyst. Yes, so there's a lot of career opportunities available in this domain. So for that, you have to have a very good understanding of the process and algorithms, statistical modeling, and R, Python, all these things. So with that, you will be able to like back a very good job when you finish your course. Okay, so so far we have been like discussing a lot of things, like what is data mining and what is the process of data mining, and how data mining evolved, why we have to use it, and what are the applications of data mining, and what are the career opportunities available for analytics and data mining. So hope you have a very good understanding right now. So if there is any questions that you have, you can ask. If there is any questions, please ask.